Last year, I mixed and mastered more than 800 projects. This year, I'm on track to complete 1,000. I'm going to share how I get work, manage money, and run sessions. And not just that, but for each of these, I'm sharing practical advice that serves me daily and can help you too. We are not nouns, we are verbs. I am not a thing, an actor, a write. I am a person who does things. I write, I act. 10 years ago, I labeled myself as a mixing and mastering engineer, and I didn't get many clients. Today, I see people making the same mistake, telling the world what they are and not showing people what they can do. As of now, in 2024, every single day, I share a release of something I've worked on or showcase how I do things at the studio. When I share a release, I tag the artist, the producer, the mixer, writers, musicians, the labels. When other people see this day after day after day, they make a connection. Nicholas masters records, and here are people who value his work. Now, what if you don't have a release coming out every day? What you need to do is show people something you're doing at the studio. Someone I saw recently who did this well is Wheelie Mix on Instagram, sharing his take on the Craig Bauer bass mixing trick from my video on Fat Bass. This is somebody showing the world what they can do, and that is what you need to do to get yourself out there. Portfolios get work, which in turn adds to the portfolio and gets more work. But you don't need paying clients to develop a portfolio. When I started out, I would use the sessions from our classes at university, and I would also ask other students for their multi-track so I could mix them for my portfolio. Now, a modern day example of this is Ed Zorn's portfolio. He has a mix for James Dupree's Another Love Song, and it is amazing. That mix is actually from a contest on Produced Like a Pro. Now, if I was an artist, I'd hire Ed to mix my records because he does such a great job. So if you're looking to build your portfolio or looking for multi-tracks, go check out this video from Produced Like a Pro, where you can get 30 sets of high quality multi-tracks you can download and start mixing today. Now, the only thing I can add to this is that official releases look better on any portfolio. But up and until then, if you're good at what you do, use this to showcase your work. Speculative work or spec work is work done for free in the hopes of getting paid for it. You're going to be surprised to know I do spec work, but only for very, very specific people. Number one, I have to know these people closely and trust them. And number two is they're usually at the top of their field and looping me in on exciting and big projects. These people aren't tire kickers, and time is usually a big factor. Sometimes the spec work is just to convince an A&R, an artist, or someone else on the project that I'm the right person for the job, so it's easier to just show them what I can do rather than trying to convince anybody. And through this, it's helped me build relationships that have gotten me more work time after time. But there's a difference between this and a random artist hitting me up for a sample of what I can do. When I started out, I never did any spec work because the people who were asking for samples were the people who ended up wasting my time, so that's just a word of warning. My website brings roughly 1 to 2 bookings in a week and another 4 inquiries a week. 50% of those turn up into paying jobs. Annually, the website brings in 150 projects a year to work on. Now, let me explain the layout. This is my homepage, create a sound which connects listeners with your music. That is my positioning statement. I recommend you go read the book Zag by Marty Neumeier on branding. It's a really great book. I got a call to action for people to book mastering, and then I just go down 4,000 projects. This is how I service. Again, this is positioning. People who are producers, engineers, labels, and artists recognize this is the people I work with. This is this logo quilt here. Who have I worked for in the past? This little montage or collage of things is just a direct feed from my Instagram, so it's constantly updating. Then I got some work I've worked on. This record, Take It Easy by Collie Buddz. He was actually nominated for a Grammy this year, which is like great, and his team at Infallible are awesome. This one, Dugong Jr., just little bits of my portfolio showcasing the people. Again, remember how I said you're going to show who works on the records, who are the producers, who's the mixer on it, where did it get press on? That's really important. I got this record with NLE Chopper and Bob Horn, whom I absolutely love working with. Bob is a great mixer. Again, that's just on the portfolio. Then I've got what the pros say about our work. So I've got testimonials from professionals. Again, my target market can see this and say, these are other professionals who have given testimonial to Nick's work, and it's there. So it's a positioning. Book your mastering session. This isn't fancy. My mastering booking thing is not fancy. It's only meant to be simple, because if somebody wants to book with me, they're just going to go here, fill it out, submit it, or send me an email and submit it. I don't try and make a super big sales page where I'm like, mastering gives you this, or mastering gives you that, and I use this gear, or I use that gear. People either want to work with me or not, so that's what it's there for. And then a contact us thing, which people can contact me for mixing and other inquiries. So without making a full video on website design, that's my website. Let's move on to the next one, repeat clients. 809 projects and 197 clients in 23. How many come from repeat clients? 516 come from 20 clients. How do I get repeat clients? I'm going to be intense here. I give a shit. I go above and beyond what's accepted or normal for every project. Extra revisions, edits, listening to 5 iterations of a mix each day for a whole week until the client's ready for mastering. 30-minute phone calls discussing clipping plugins with a producer while I'm on the way home from the studio. Whatever a client needs, I do my best to go above and beyond. There's no rest there, but ultimately it comes down to attitude, okay? Some engineers see their clients on the other team, a burden, a liability, something they need to manage. And trust me, when clients are in these situations, they feel that. They've actually spoken to me about these experiences they've had with other engineers. If you can embrace a client as part of a team culture, working towards a common goal, it's a recipe for success. Now, here's some things I've done which haven't helped me get more work, which some people think it will. Podcasts do not get me more work. I've been on over a dozen podcasts, and they're super cool if you want to hang and shoot the shit with people you respect and share the same values with, but it's not going to get you more work, or at least it didn't for me. TikTok doesn't get me more work. I had a little stint over there. Ultimately, my target market are full-time engineers, producers, labels. I can't show them what I want to on a phone in a fast reel. That's not my skill set, and it's not worth my time or effort at the moment, so I just don't do it. Facebook ads or ads in general don't get me more work. This worked for quick cash back in 2015, 2016. I could place an ad and the cost to acquire a client was $5. Now that cost is $50 to $100 a client, and none of the clients you get from clicking a Facebook ad are long-term clients. So I need to burn a lot of cash, fill out my calendar with clients who are all one-timers to keep feeding a hamster wheel, paying for ads to just repeat that cycle. Now, if you're ever considering ad-based client acquisition, I strongly recommend watching this video by Alex Hormozi. He breaks down things like lifetime gross profit and cost to acquire, customer ratios, and much more. I actually used his formulas on the studio as part of a SWOT analysis, and it was a very fun and revealing exercise as a business to transparently look at the economics of scale for a studio. Now, YouTube does not get me more work, or not like you think. I've been putting out 4 videos a week. That's 4 hours of my time to make one hour of video, 4 hours a week. Roughly 4 mastering projects a week I could be doing in lieu of making YouTube videos, and I'm lucky if the channel brings in 1 master a week. I don't do YouTube to get more work. I do it as a creative outlet where I can create something new that inspires me, inspires others, and help share what I'm really passionate about in my craft. It's basically my break I get between all my sessions and life. So that's why we're here. Now let's talk about managing money. My fee structure is simple. I charge on a project basis, not hourly. Charging hourly limits value on a time basis. Charging projects fees lets you build value around the result. Clients want clear value and then to be serviced above and beyond in the process. If you charge hourly, each revision means another invoice or overage. Clients don't like that even if they agree on it. They don't want to see another invoice coming up. And this all circles back to how you get clients and repeat clients. My fees allow me to do anything under the sun I possibly can for my clients, no compromises. And I see so many engineers charging $30 an hour for their work. And if you take away 20% for taxes, 10% for 401k or retirement, 10% for expenses, and then multiply out how many hours you need to book in a year to make $50,000, it doesn't stack up. And none of that includes the time to manage and build the business. Also, assuming every single workable hour you're booked and each hour is being reconciled and paid for. For many people, setting a fee is difficult because they don't want to charge more than other people. But every engineer is different, and a price that works for one engineer won't work for the next. You need to think about how many clients do you have? How many projects do you work on a year? What are your overheads? How do you plan on scaling your business? Estimate how much money you'll make based on different fees. And that's where a business feasibility study or analysis comes in handy. I do feasibility studies annually for my studio, side hustles, and businesses. And here's a really good resource from the Queensland government on how to conduct one. If this doesn't make sense or some of the things don't connect, just Google feasibility study or feasibility analysis in Google, and you'll find a lot of people who lay it out for you. Now, payment terms. My payment terms are simple. No money, no honey. 100% upfront. For larger projects, I'll take 50% booking deposits to lock in an album on my calendar. Or if it's large mixing projects, more than 5,000, it'll be 50% upfront, 25% in 3 months, 25% on completion. Now, I am strict with this because no one has the time to be chasing up 800 plus invoices on account receivable. So it's just more simple to get the money up front or be all paid on your accounts before receiving any files. Now, discounts, I do them when it's equitable. Example, I discount per track fees on album mastering because instead of sending out 12 invoices, setting up 12 sessions, liaising with 12 clients, I do all these tasks in once. So I discount it accordingly. And like Spec Work, if somebody I trust comes to me with a project they're on board with, but the budget isn't there, I'll consider it and I try to make something work. But that only happens a handful of times a year because fellow professionals respect each other's rates and we don't try and step on each other's feet unless it's something we really believe in. Now, here's a warning. Don't do discounts on projects for people you don't know. They'll probably say they've got so much more stuff they'll send your way to work on. And when this happens, I schedule a call to ask how many projects they want to work on over the next 12 months. I make them an offer they can't refuse. I offer them a project fee with a 50% down payment, and one of two things happen. They're serious and have the catalog of work lined up that they said they did, and we go ahead. They get a discount 50% up front, and we work on the catalog for the next 12 months. Or, and this happens more often than you'd think, they haven't even started working on the so much more stuff that we're going to send your way, so they just end up flaking out. In 10 years, I've been asked 3 times for refunds. Actually, I've given 3 refunds each time. And each time, the experience has taught me something valuable. So I'm going to pull this quote from one of my favorite movies of all time, A Bronx Tale. When C is chasing somebody for $20 they owe him, Sonny tells him, it costs you $20 to get rid of him. He's never going to bother you again. He's never going to ask you for money again. He's out of your life for $20 you got off cheap. I apply the same philosophy around refunds. A refund is a cost of getting rid of a headache. And refunds never come up in my interactions because my sole focus is on the project, taking that project full circle no matter what. So refunds never cross my mind or my clients' minds because we work forward to completion. Running sessions, industry standard deliverables. If you're delivering a mix, at a minimum, you must send the main mix, instrumental, and TV mix. That is industry standard. Any artist with a serious career wanting publishing deals or sync licensing will need these assets. So do it by default. Do not charge extra for it. As a mastering engineer, if mixers submit those mixes, I accept them at no extra cost because it's part of the gig. Templating your sessions, routing, buses, and printers for exporting stems is the single best thing you can do from a workflow perspective. I started developing my templates back in 2017, and now it's evolved into more than a template. It's a system where I can get started on my mixes, print out all my assets for my clients, stems they need, and it just allows me to focus on the creative aspect of my job. I've got links to those templates in the description if you want to check them out. Email templates. Don't write the same thing over and over. Here's some screenshots of my most common used email templates for bookings, delivery emails, update emails, mix feedback emails, and finally, project onboarding for my assistant. And that's what we're going to talk about, my assistant. He is the reason why I can work on so many mixes a year and engage with them so creatively. And that's this guy, Ethan Horning. Getting an assistant was the best decision I ever made for my mixing career. So how do you find an assistant? I asked around, shortlisted 5 people and had them all assist me on the same project, setting up the same session. Ethan knocked it out of the park. Since then, he's been on board so I can focus on mixing, not setting up sessions, dragging files, organizing folders, check something material to see if it's all there, just mixing. And with a wild schedule like mine, I want to put all my energy into the creative aspect of my career. Now, do me a favor. Go follow Ethan on Instagram. He's wildly passionate about music and audio too, and I know you guys will really enjoy seeing his stuff as well. Now, automations. I have one applet. I click on that, populates my entire folder structure for every project. It's the best thing and saves me so much time. Here's how it works step by step and how you can set it up on a Mac. I want to show you a very simple code you can use in Mac Automator, which comes on every OS of Mac, and you can create your own folder hierarchy with it to set up your own sessions like that. All right, so let's get this code going. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to File, New. And when we go new, we want to create an application here. Click OK. We'll drag this application window just down to here. And the first thing we're going to do is in this library, we're going to want a prompt to ask us for some text, which will end up being the folder name. So let's go ask for text. Beautiful. Question. What do you want this folder to be called? And default answer, the way I roll is the first 4 digits, which becomes the invoice number and client name. You can change like submit, put that there, and exit or cancel. This is going to need an answer. It has to require an input here. Otherwise you don't have a folder name and the code won't run. So ask for text. The next thing is to set a value for that variable. And that's just going to be simply new project. Let's go there. New project. Done. Beautiful. And then we're going to want to ask for finder item. And this is basically going to say the computer telling us, well, you want to create this folder. Where do you want to create it? So let's go ask for finder item, pull that in. And I'm going to say we're going to start at the desktop here just for the sake of being quick, but you can actually choose it where you want that folder to start at, where you want that root directory to be at. So it could be your project folder in your Dropbox, like it is for me with my projects, or it could be a particular hard drive that you have and you want to just get it going to there. That's how you can roll. You're going to want files and folders, and that's all good. Next thing to do is to set the value of another variable, and it's going to be called start at. One moment. New variable, start at, done. And then from there, you're going to want to get the value of a variable, which is the input, which you gave at the start. So you want to go get value of a variable. Let's just double click that, and new project. So it's going to pull that name, that input that you gave it. And that's what it's going to be using on this next script we're going to put down. So we're going to run a shell script here. Run shell script. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to be in bash, and as an argument, beautiful. So mkdir is make directory, $1, $2, that's going to create your root folder. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some other folders. So make directory, $1, $2, / assets. Perfect. Close that, make directory, $1, / $2, deliverables, make directory, $1, / $2, sessions, and then you can do subfolders. So let's go make directory, $1, / $2, / sessions, / Pro Tools. And then you can have a folder with all your Pro Tools sessions in it, or whatever software you're using, but basically you can create subdirectories there. And what we're going to do now is that we've got this script all listed out. Let's actually run it and see if it works. Run, client name, let's just do John Smith. Let's submit that. And it's going to ask me where I want it. I want it in desktop. You see, I tried it out a few times before I made this video. So I want it in the desktop, please. And sessions, no such file directory. Why is it saying that? I have no clue. But though, it created it. I don't know why an error came up if it created it. Why did that error come up? Let me delete that line, because that line's obviously causing a bit of a... Oh, I see what I did there. See what I did there? Right there, I've got a 4 instead of a $. $2. Okay, now if I run that, it should be fine. Client name 3, submit that, and everything's good. Okay, just make sure you get your spelling right there and you don't miss anything. And then if I go here, I've got sessions, Pro Tools, deliverables, assets. You can create subfolders by just extending on the bottom. And basically that's how I set up my folder hierarchy. And then what you do is once you save it, you can save it, and then you can drag the icon into your toolbar there. So for, again, my project one, create new projects, client name 4, okay, and it's in my projects folder and it's all good. Anyway, I hope that helped you guys out, and until next time, take care. Now, last year I offered unlimited revisions on all projects. Here's how it went. How do you think it went? Well, I mixed 100 songs. I averaged 3 revisions on each song, but 40 of the songs only required 2 revisions. 12 was the most amount of revisions I did on any project. And from when clients sent me the music to when I set the final signed off mixes, I averaged 3 weeks per song. But 48 of the projects, almost half of them, only took 1 to 2 weeks to complete. First, I'm going to use this data to point at the hypocrisy of many mixing engineers and myself that we've been guilty of. We're super proud when clients sign off on the first mix after, let's say, 2 hours of work. We're super proud of that. But then complain when a client has done several rounds of revisions, saying it's not sustainable to spend countless hours doing revisions without getting compensation or charging extra time. So it begs the question, are we getting paid for results or for our time? If it's for our time, why not credit back some of the mixing fee on the 2-hour mixing job that we're so proud to say, hey, we got this right first time, why does it matter if it takes longer to complete? Many pros get grumpy, snappy, limit revisions, charge extra, and for what? For the fear we all share, being taken advantage of. And I get it, but like most fears, this exercise taught me that this particular fear lives inside our head and is not what actually happens in the real world. So there you have it, mixing and mastering career advice that they're hiding from me, or at least I think people are hiding because nobody talks about that stuff, do they? Leave your comments in the section below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you do differently? What do you do that I didn't mention? What would you like to hear me talk about? This channel, trust me, is not going to become a career business advice channel. I love the tech side, but I wanted to share on this side of things because people had been asking, okay? This isn't going to be a career coachy sort of channel. Absolutely not. I refuse to let it become that because I've tried in the past and it's a bit cringy and I look at myself and I'm like, fuck, you know, like we're all trying to figure it out. You know, it's a bit preachy. So that's why I made this video the way I did. It was pretty much my experiences, not necessarily me telling people how to suck eggs and get 100 million clients. It's just like, this is how I manage my scale of business. Take something from it, you know, learn something if you can. All right. And anyway, I'll leave you with that. Until next time, take care.